What's up, it's PDX Guitar Freak, and in this video I'm going to show you how to play the guitar solo from Van Halen's Push Comes to Shove. Now, unlike most Van Halen solos, you don't tune your guitar down 1/2 step for this. Leave it in standard tuning. And the last thing I want to say is, yes, you are seeing the debut of this beautiful PRS Custom 24 core line guitar. I actually traded in my old natural PRS Custom 24, or I sold it in order to buy this. That one was just so beat up, I felt like it was time to renew my vows, I guess, with PRS. All right, let's go ahead and jump on into it. Section 1 is going to go like this. All right, so what we're doing is we're going to be holding down the 9th fret of the G string. You're not playing that note, you're just holding it there as you get ready for the tapping part, okay? You're going to tap onto the 19th fret, slide up to the 21st, back down to the 19th, down to the 17th, pull off to the 9th fret note, okay? All right, and then while you're still holding that 9th fret note, you're going to tap onto the 14th fret, bring it up, back down, pull off to the 9th, okay? Give it some vibrato. Now with that tap, bend, pull off, all of the bending power is going to come from your left hand, okay? So while you're tapping with the right hand index finger, you're just using that to hold the note. You're not using your arm, your finger to pull up. All that bending power is coming from your left hand. And then while you're still holding that 9th fret note, you're going to tap some harmonics on the G string at the 21st, 16th, and 14th frets. Okay? And then you have that little slide up at the 5th fret of the D string. You don't need to slide up exactly there. You can just slide up from anywhere pretty much. So the next part here is a little bit tricky because of the wide stretch involved, and you're going to basically be doing 12, 15, 18 on the A, followed by 12, 15, 19 on the D. And then 12, 15, G, and then play the 19th fret of the D. And then the 12, 15, 19, 15, 19, 15 on the G. Slide down to the 14. You'll notice I've got my guitar anchored up on my leg like that, and you'll notice in the beginning of the video I'm getting in an awkward position to play that. That's because most of us mere mortals, will find it difficult to do these stretches in a straight, upright, proper position. You're going to have to be either leaning over, your leg propped up, or something. That's what Eddie would have done live. And you'll notice when you find this guitar solo here on YouTube, I could not find a single one where someone was not sitting down and playing this solo. And I think part of it is just people like to sit down when they play. I don't know. But I saw one guy standing up and he didn't even do the stretch. So keep that in mind. It's a little bit uncomfortable. All right, let's move to the next part. Okay, so in this next section, it starts with that 19th fret slide up. You're not picking that note, you're just sliding up to that point. So a couple things I want to call out. First, of course, you have that 21st fret on the B string 2-step bend. That's the equivalent of going from here to here. Okay? And then the other tricky part there is that 17th fret bend up on the G string with the artificial harmonic. A lot of people don't like bending a full step with their index finger, but Van Halen does it a lot, and I think it's worth getting that down versus sliding your hand down and doing the bend like I see a lot of people do. Practice with your index finger. It'll pay off in the long run. The next part. Now, when you see me at the beginning, I'll add that little in there. That just helps me keep time. No one really notices when you do that. And then let me do the whole thing slow. That ending part, a lot of times I'll see people go and they won't tap it. I'm not sure if Eddie's actually tapping it in that part, but I find it fun to do that way. So do whatever you think sounds better, looks cooler, whatever's important to you. Then we're going to go. Okay. Notice I let the 6th fret B and open E string blend. A lot of times I'll see people instead just go from the 6th fret of the B to the 5th fret of the B like this. Instead of, but if you listen to the original really closely, you can hear that Eddie does the 2 blended notes. All right, let's move to the next part. The next section. Okay, slowly. Not sure what there is to explain there, but you'll notice that I'm doing those 5th fret bends with my index finger. A lot of times, again, I see people go, they slide down like, because it's easier to do it that way. Again, Eddie uses his index finger a lot to do those full step bends. I highly recommend you practice it that way. It's gonna pay off in the long run. The next section. Okay. Now when I do that 17, 19 together, you don't have to do them both together. You can just do the 19th fret, like. Whichever sounds better to you. Now, another thing I want to call out there is that 20th fret bend at the B. That's a pre-bend. Okay, so you bend up, hit the note, and then come down before you do the. Okay. All right, let's go to the next one. The next section. That one, I'm not sure explains, it needs much additional explanation past the tabs. Just remember that when you do that 8th fret bend on the B string, you're bending up a half step, holding it for a little bit, and then doing the vibrato. All right, let's move to the next section. Now this next part's got some really interesting tapping. Start by tapping onto the 10th fret of the G string and then follow the tabs. A little slower. All right. Again, pretty straightforward. Just remember that when you transition to the D string, you're going to tap onto that 7th fret with your left hand. It's not a picked note. You just come out of the G string onto the D by tapping onto the D, okay? Now this next lick, you ended up down at that, remember at that 3rd fret of the D string, okay? So then you're going to start this one out by sliding up to the 5th fret of the D and then start tapping on the G string, okay? So. Okay. Now I found with that one, what got me, after I tabbed it out, what got me most familiar with it the quickest is instead of watching my left hand as I moved up the fretboard, I watched my right hand. I watched my tapping finger as I moved up. And as I was watching my tapping finger, I found it easier to learn. For me, it did. Now the last tabbed section here, very similar to the one we did immediately before the last one. And we're going to go like this. Okay. All right, let's move to the last part. So this last part's kind of a basic kind of blues-like lick. Okay. All right, that was my lesson on how to play the guitar solo from Van Halen's Push Comes to Shove. Hope you found it helpful, informative, useful. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a comment down below, thumbs up, all that stuff. It helps. All right, till next time, rock on.